Hello, hi. This is Florence Achama Ukpavi, faith and belief coach, courage and confidence coach for women of faith. It's been a while since I've been on live because I've been super busy moving home and wedding planning, but I am launching a new program called the Freedom and Breakthrough program. So I wanted to come on today and just tell you a little bit about it. I've been sharing this out a lot on my page, on my profile, and to my email list, but I haven't done a video yet. So I want to just come on and tell you a little bit about it. So cutting to the chase and going straight into it, as I said, the program is called the Freedom and Breakthrough program. The reason why it's called that is because it does what it says on the tin. It's about freedom and breakthrough. It's really about helping women of faith experience the freedom that they desire. The freedom, when I talk about freedom, what I'm really talking about is internal freedom. So often we can have strongholds around our beliefs, our thoughts, even our emotions can be strongholds for us if we have really powerful overpowering emotions, and they can hold us back. They can really stop us from moving forward. So freedom relates to being free of the limiting beliefs, the thoughts, the emotions that can often keep us stuck in places and situations that we don't want to be for much longer than we would want to be there. And freedom to express yourself, to truly express who you are. Because often actually, the world, socialization, parenting, things that we've picked up growing up, all of that stuff can train us to be a particular way. And we either adopt that way of being because it makes us feel safe or it makes us feel loved or whatever it is. And we make ourselves smaller. So sometimes you might hear people talk about making yourself smaller. And often we do that because we've been trained to do that, and it's just become a subconscious pattern, or we do it out of fear. So we make ourselves smaller, and we want to break free of those things that are stopping us from being who God has said we are, who God has created us to be. So that's that bit, freedom to express yourself in the way that you truly are, in the way that you desire. Because when we are free to express ourselves as God has created us to be, then that opens doors for us. So I'm going to give you an example to illustrate. We hear people talking about attracting and like attracting like. And this is a really good example of that, because if you are expressing yourself in a particular way that is not really true to you, then you're just going to attract the like of that. You're going to attract people who like that, who resonate with that. When you hold yourself back from truly being who you are, you will bring around you a group of people who are in agreement with that version of you. And because they're in agreement with that version of you, they're not going to like it when you try to express your true nature, when you try to say, actually, this isn't who I really am, and try to put yourself out there in your real self, as your real self. So a lot of my clients, they often have a pushback because of that. They've been a particular way and the world around them is like reacting to that. And we have to go through a process of reteaching them, actually, it's okay and it's good to be able to express yourself as you truly are, because that means you attract people who want to see more of the real you. So that's really important. So Freedom then, just to recap, freedom means freedom from those limiting beliefs, those fears, those strongholds that keep us stuck. And those can be the thoughts, beliefs, the emotions, habits that we have. We want to break free of those things. Freedom is freedom to express yourself, freedom to be truly you, to stand in your truth, to be able to express your truth, because when you do that, then it's so much easier to start creating the life that you want, because you're attracting the things that are on the same level as you. You're attracting the people that are on the same level as you. You're attracting opportunities that are on the same level as you. So that's the freedom component. The next bit is the breakthrough, so freedom and breakthrough. And I've kind of touched upon that, because the breakthrough element is really this idea that when we are lying to ourselves, and we can do that because we are ignorant, or we can do that because we're afraid. When we're lying to ourselves, the actions that we take aren't going to support us in the journey of breaking through. Because if you're lying to yourself, whether it's in ignorance or in fear, then you're not stepping out in courage. You're not stepping out in faith. You're not stepping out in authentic confidence. So just because of those things, the actions that you take are not going to be aligned to helping you break through in the direction that you want. If you think about it, say that you're walking forwards in life, and the trajectory that you want to go is right. But because of socialization, fear, whatever it is, you start veering off to the left. If you keep on going down that road, then eventually you're going to come to a destination, but it's not going to be a destination that's aligned to what you really want. It's the path of least resistance. It's the path that everyone around you says that you should go in. And because it's easy or easier, more comfortable to you, you don't have to face as many of your fears, you go down that road. But then you realize that actually you wanted to go right. But then the distance has increased, and then it becomes harder and harder for you to go back to the right. So we want to do the work that makes it easy for you to choose the right path for you. And the only way you can do that is to break free from those things that are otherwise telling you to go down the road that you don't want to go down. So that's a really important thing, because the breakthrough is all about actions. I think as Christians, we can be all about the faith bit. But we know, James does say that faith without works is dead. And it's something, that I repeat again and again, because it's not just words, it's wisdom, it's biblical truth, and it's spiritual and physical truth that James basically says, show me faith and I'll show you works. It's impossible to say that you have faith and belief and not have the corresponding steps. If you think about anything that you've ever done in life that has taken you courage, there has had to be faith to go along with the footsteps that you've walked in. There has probably been no experience that you've had where you haven't had to act out your faith, where you haven't had to action it, where you haven't had to face your fears or your doubts or insecurities and just stay on that road. And that's something that if we allow our fears and insecurities and our socialization and our beliefs and our subconscious stories and everything else, if we allow those things to hold us back, then they will hold us back. And that's why people do say that the battle is in the mind, because really, and I speak from experience, that if you want to get anywhere, then you need to confront your own mind. You need to confront the prison bars of your mind, because our minds can hold us prisoners in the sense that we're not free. And we know that Jesus, Yeshua, came to set us free, that he came so that we should experience life, fullness of life. And we can't experience that if we're being held back by fears, if we're so afraid that we can't step out and walk in a place of courage and confidence. So the Breakthrough and Freedom program is really powerful because it's all about helping you to do those things, to experience freedom in yourself so that you can create the life that God has placed in your heart, so that you can live the life that you desire, not live the life that somebody has told you to live, not live the life that you think that the world wants you to live, to really live a life that is true to who you are and express who you really are. And as I said, the breakthrough element comes when we are being true, to ourselves. So some other aspects that I do want to talk about in relation to the Freedom and Breakthrough program, that I've kind of mentioned these as well, but the importance of standing in faith. I don't know about you, I've heard people talk about standing in faith before, and there was a time when I really needed to know how to do this, but nobody really showed me or taught me how to do it. I remember there was this one lady who, she had a story of overcoming cancer, and she spent a lot of time, that was her thing, based on her story. She spent a lot of time teaching people how to stand in faith. But again, it was more about the spiritual side and less about the practical aspect of standing in faith, because we know that standing in faith is a process. It's not something that you can just say, yeah, I'm standing in faith, and then the next thing you know, whatever it is going to happen. Standing in faith is literally that, standing in a situation where you may not be able to see what is around the corner. And that's when the enemy is going to come and start saying things. But how do you remain firm and steadfast standing in faith? So that's one of the things that I go into in this program, as well as helping you to really believe God for more in your life. I don't know whether this may be something that you struggle with or not, but I think that sometimes our teaching from the church can mean that we, even though we may not want to, we put a limit on what God desires to do in our lives, or what God wants to do in our lives, or what God is able to do in our lives. So standing in faith is also about increasing your capacity to believe God for more, so that we can experience those breakthroughs. If we think about it this way, the only way that we can experience breakthroughs in the way that we want to experience breakthroughs is where we have an increase of our faith. Because the increase of our faith causes us to walk, because faith without works is dead. What we have faith in, we action out, we walk it out. So if our faith is little, and we know that Jesus spoke about, people being of little faith, not that their faith was tiny, because a mustard seed of faith can do a lot. He wasn't talking about the quantity of our faith, but he was really talking about what we are willing to believe God for. How expansive our faith is. Are we willing to believe God for the big things? Or are we only willing to believe God in the things that we believe that are possible in our carnal mindset, in our carnal mind? Maybe based on what we've seen around us, or based on our experiences. If we only choose to believe or have faith in those things which we think are already possible, then our breakthrough is going to be to the extent of what we believe, we're going to experience the more of what we have already experienced. So we need to expand our faith and believe God for more to experience greater breakthroughs in our lives. And maybe you've heard some amazing testimonies and you've been like, oh my gosh, I wish that was me. Or you've been like, that sounds a little bit far-fetched. Well, both of those responses, they say a lot about what's going on inside of us, our thoughts, what we believe to be true and possible, whether it's true and possible in the physical world, or whether it's true and possible for us, whether God is willing or able to do it for us. So that's something that I go into in the program, the Freedom and Breakthrough program. So just to recap, I go into freedom, what that means, the aspects of what it means, breakthrough, and one of the aspects of breakthrough is standing in faith and believing God for more, the life that you really desire. And the last bit is really about the tools and the strategies that will help you to take those faith-aligned steps. So this is really about dealing with the procrastination, dealing with the resistance, dealing with all the things, the excuses. Yeah, the excuses, because we can, talk ourselves out of doing things all the time. So what are the tricks that we play to ourselves, or what are the tricks that people around us or the world around us plays on us to keep us in our comfort zone? And I will teach you tools and strategies to move past those tricks so that you are aware of what is keeping you stuck and how that shows up for you, and you can pull out some tools from your tool belt to help you say, actually, I see what's going on here and I'm going to continue walking this out. I'm not going to allow this pattern or this thing that usually happens to me to keep me here. And the last bit is really about accountability and support. I think a lot of the time for my clients, this is probably one of the most important aspects, because yes, you can, find books on anything nowadays. You can find courses on anything nowadays. But my hashtag for the end of last year and this year is Fight Your Normal. And the reason why that was my hashtag, because I recognize that actually in order to get to a place where you've never got to before, you will need to fight your normal. You will need to fight what is comfortable for you, what is easy for you, what you default to. And that's where the accountability and support comes in. As I said, it's so easy to give yourself reasons and excuses and justify certain things. But if you've got somebody calling you out, supporting you, guiding you, and giving you alternatives that will help you move forward, then it becomes so much more easier to take those steps, because you know that you're walking, or somebody else is walking with you, in comparison to trying to do it by yourself and then thinking, oh my gosh, this is too hard, or oh my gosh, this isn't for me, or oh my gosh, I'm going to try this later on. Those are just excuses. So that's the aspects, or the main the main elements of the Freedom and Breakthrough program. And what I want to do for the next week, up until the program starts on next Monday, it starts, just checking that, it starts on the 29th. It starts on the 29th. So, which is next Monday. So up until then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share more about the program. If you have questions about it, then I am more than happy to answer them. But I'll share things so that give you more of an understanding of what it's about. There are some bonuses included. I will put a link to the page. I'm updating it at the moment, but once I've done that, I will put a link to the page, so please come back and click on it and have a look. If this is something that you are interested in, then I invite you to come on a discovery call with me. I only want to take a small group of women for a number of reasons. One of the reasons is because this work is, you know, it's deep, it's transformational work, and it works best with a smaller group because I can give more attention and support. And also from your side, you won't feel kind of lost in a bigger crowd. So yeah, I'm going to be sharing more about it over the next week or so. But if you do want to talk to me about it, if you want to find out whether it's a good fit for you, then book a discovery call with me, and we will take it from there. So no obligation discovery call. So don't worry about anything. Just book the call and we'll take it from there. But that's it for me. I hope that you have a really amazing Resurrection Sunday, and I will see you soon. Take care and God bless.